Hey everybody, it's a Doctor here with Typical Manga Fan, and this episode of the Typical Manga Review will be dedicated to Bleach, Chapter 671, The Perfect Crimson 2. And we open up with the first of Tite Kubo's recurring time wasters, the recap of the last chapter's finale.
As usual.
Yep, as BC Guy is revealing that the petals falling from his Bankai are not a time limit, but for when it wears off, but rather a time limit for when he ages a bit. He actually kind of looks like
Um,
Aizen right there.
well, I mean, to be fair, I mean, not to be fair, but like, all of it, a lot of his characters look the same. Like
Well,
he doesn't really change his designs that much if you think about it. And
still, I mean,
that's been a criticism of his art for a while.
you can at least mix up the hairstyle and clothing to make it less obvious. I mean, that's what a lot of artists do with that, who have that issue.
Yeah. Um. So, yeah, I mean, he. There's actually been a talk about like he has the pedals run out before, and they say like it has actually, and that was in the Shalom fight. Um, but that and then what happened was apparently like the blood spurted out, but some people say, well, no, maybe it didn't run out. It was just all the damage from Shalom. But I think but whatever. I think maybe you could say that when he before when the pedals did go away, it did technically mean the end of his Bankai because he couldn't control the boost in power that he would get now. Like
Right.
and
So,
now that he can, um, he grows up a bit.
yeah.
It's kind of funny. He says it's still not mature yet. Of course, it's not mature. You have to gain experience and years of experience for that. I mean, that's the point of maturity, right? So,
Yeah.
him becoming old in just a few seconds doesn't that kind of isn't that kind of contradicting the concept of what maturing is?
Well,
Maturing is supposed
I
to be
don't,
slow.
I don't know because he's not really acting all that differently.
Well, I mean,
But of course,
him
maturation
actually,
could be just physical maturation.
that's what I'm saying though. The physical maturation, it's still contradicting the idea of it. You know what I'm saying? Because
Mm,
the physical maturation is supposed to represent the fact that his powers have become mature, not to the point of it's when it's most powerful, as he just pointed out, but still much more mature than it used to be.
well,
Uh,
I don't think so in this case because my understanding of the whole thing here is that basically he activates the Bankai. It's in use, but while it's in use, it's also kind of like slow cooking, so to speak. All the petals fall on. That's the time that it's ready. That's when it's ready to go and ready to be unleashed in full. And then that's when it's fully quote unquote mature.
but the
I
thing
mean,
is that the maturation theme has been with Hitsugaya since like the beginning of time. Like we keep hearing about it over and over again, and he keeps talking about it. So there's a theme going on. That's the thing though. There is a definite theme with Hitsugaya about becoming more powerful, but just simply not being there yet. So that's why I don't know him becoming this at least this much older is really a good thing because it's sort of like, well, maturation takes years, and I get that, you know,
well,
this
he's had
this is
two.
he's had 2 years, but he had 100 years before that. It just feels weird that you have 100 years where you barely mature at all, and then basically 2 seconds to grow up into it. It's just
Well,
weird.
it's not like it's a
Uh,
permanent thing. It's just like a temporary power up.
it is, but it's just like the. It's just weird that his physical body it represents that, because it doesn't feel natural. That's the thing. Like maturation and development and character development and everything about it is supposed to feel natural. It's supposed to be.
I think you are overthinking this one. I really do.
I don't know.
All it is, he's got a power up. Now he's older. That's all.
I don't know. It's just weird that.
It's just a visual thing. Just run
Yeah.
with it. This is
Uh,
this is one of those cases where I think you're kind of overthinking things a bit.
you know.
In any case, Gigantor at least is very excited at the prospect of fighting an adult Hitsugaya because he didn't enjoy beating up a child. So,
Well, did he say that?
well, he's
Or,
saying like this is much more suitable to be my opponent than the child who stood before me before.
well, that's just him just not liking the idea of fighting a child because not because of chivalry, just because he probably doesn't think highly of children.
Well, I didn't mean to imply it was because of chivalry. I just said
Okay.
he wasn't having as much fun beating up a child.
No. So he throws a shield at the guy who freezes it, and then Hitsugaya cuts his sword after and then
And he does not get the double-edged attack this time because he actually throws the thing into like non-motion first. Like that's
so
my
apparently freezing something can actually freeze the magic with it too. Okay.
well. That's what he's going for anyway.
Yeah. So he says, "Okay, well, you're did," and
And we get a Quincy bow.
we're with the metaphors, by the way. So yeah, he does the Quincy bow. This, what's interesting? Is this supposed to be his Volstaging form? I'm assuming so, right?
I mean, I think that's the assumption anyway.
Yeah. So if I wasn't told that he was the heart of the Soul King, I wouldn't think of that. Like, I feel like should we be getting something about him being the heart of the Soul King by now?
I don't know.
Because right now he's just an enemy.
It depends on if he's aware of it or not. I mean, you can't. Pernita couldn't exactly deny it, being like the Addams family member that he was.
I feel like it's hard to not be aware of it because at least Askin knew, and having your powers before anyone else, even before Lilibaro, was kind of like a big deal. So it's like, well, So basically, he uses his bow and is about to shoot, but the guy just freezes him.
Yeah, he points out that he came to the idea of using the bow just literally a second too late.
Yeah, and also what? But here's okay. Well, here's what happens. So he starts basically explaining shit. I'm not gonna really go over that.
Because it's all about the same. Like, I pwned your ass, basically.
They all do that. So then he breaks out of it, and then Hitsugaya gives a very shocked face. Wow, let's give that one to the counter.
Ding.
I really hate.
Let me take a shot. Okay.
I really hate the shocked face because what it implies is it implies overconfidence, and at this point, you shouldn't be overconfident at all. Like, I don't care if you have a power up. If with the enemies that are doing all this shit and basically killing more than half of your army, probably much more than half, like 80% of it, maybe 90%. You shouldn't be overconfident. They're the overconfident ones because they're the villains and shit. But even I argue that that's too much for them because they're like all of them are being that. You cannot because you've lost like 3 different fights already. Okay, don't you dare be overconfident now. I don't care if this is a power you haven't used.
They have been at the disadvantage this entire encounter, this entire time. And speaking of like arrogance, as Gigantor is attacking Hitsugaya, my apologies, I got the name wrong. He starts basically blabbing about how he's a disciple of God, yada yada yada. Cannot be bound by your
overconfidence again with the overconfidence. Stop it.
And he gets thrown down by Kenpachi, who apparently has his what's he holding there? His foot? Or what did Kenpachi do exactly?
I think he just tripped him. Oh no, I think he just like tripped him. Yeah, that's all he did. I think he just tripped him.
I just wasn't sure what he was holding there, yeah.
I think he grabbed the foot and just turned it over or something.
Oh, yeah, because the next one is like, what have you done to my feet?
Yeah. Well, it has to, but that's the only thing he's touching, so.
And then the guy's arm starts freezing up again, because grabbing physical hold of a guy that can control ice is not a good idea.
I feel like this is becoming a lot like Rukia's powers now.
Which I'm going to have a few things to say about.
Yeah. So he's like, he again says, do not make me repeat myself. I cannot be frozen by the likes of some Shinigami. Okay, that's like the 5th time you said that. We get it. You think you're better than everyone. Congratulations on being different from Lilibaro and Askin and actually Askin's not like that, but from Pernita and from literally everyone else who isn't Askin, because Askin was the only one who actually decided to be a little bit different.
Yep. And then our chapter finishes off with the arrival of Byakuya, who has been nowhere to be seen for most of this chapter, unleashing his own Bankai, Senbon Zakura Kageyoshi, getting the whole big lineup of swords all around. And does Gigantor move his eyes when he's frozen? Because there's the panel where Byakuya appears, says an attack name, and then it almost looks like it's in the next panel where it says Ogi that his eyes down looking at Byakuya.
He did move his eyes.
Okay, and at that point, so it's basically Senbon Zakura Kageyoshi Ogi, which means Ogi is a secret technique. Ika Senjinka, and basically just all those words are coming flying in right at his head.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um.
Now,
So yeah.
that's the end of the chapter. And I know you had a few things to mention on here, but there's one thing I want to bring up first, since you kind of mentioned the ice power in Rukia, and I don't know, maybe those overlap with what you have in mind as well. But my issue here is, one, we have this whole big thing with the team battle, like we've got the three of them versus Gigantor, but it's kind of undermined by the simple fact that we already had a team to start with. We had the Visored, we had Rukia, we had Renji, I think, if I remember right. We had a whole bunch of people there. We had a whole bunch of people there who could have actually been a part of an effective team battle.
Shinji and Hinamori were there too, but I know Hinamori. Yeah.
I said Visored.
Oh, I know, but he doesn't use his powers anymore for some reason.
True.
So I don't know.
Yeah. In any case, as I said, so one, we've got that issue. Like, you replace pretty much you send the entire team MIA just to have a whole different team pop in.
Yeah, but this team is the one that has the popularity polls.
Yeah, and that's my second issue, is that, as you said, like, everything Kichigai is doing here, Rukia could potentially have been used for, in some form or another.
Yeah.
Like, basically, you have Rukia as the ice person as well.
And that's the thing, like, she used the Bankai way too. Like, I don't know. I felt that she didn't need to use the Bankai was overkill in the Asno fight. Like, she could have honestly just said, "Hey, this is another ability my Shikai," and then killed him with that. Because it's an expansion of it. Like, I don't know. I just kind of felt going Bankai for one attack is just kind of like a little overkill.
Well, I think that was just so Kubo could file that away and not have to worry about it any longer.
But why didn't you do that with someone who was supposed to be a female lead and one of the characters who you hyped up for basically coming down from the Soul King's palace, along with Renji? Like, I don't understand why that's something you're supposed to get it over with. That's not how you're supposed to. That's not what seems like he was trying to do, and then he just does it, and it's like, well, why did you hype her up then? Why did you have her go through the Soul King training? Why anything? Like, he gave Renji the new Bankai. He said that Byakuya basically has a new Bankai too. I mean, or at least an improved one. So, Rukia should not be getting the shaft end of the stick.
Nope.
I get that sometimes characters the places change a bit, but that is you don't demote your female lead to someone who you're just trying to get everything done with and quickly. That's not how you're supposed to do it. Rukia could have done a lot of this shit, but Kubo says, "Hey, Jigai is more popular. I'm gonna get more money from this, probably." I don't know if he said that, but it seems like that. I mean, even the Bleach fans seem to have a consensus that it's probably be because Hitsugaya is more popular. Actually, I've noticed that a lot of Bleach reviewers don't actually like Hitsugaya.
Really?
Yeah, they don't. Even though ironically he is.
I wonder if he's one of those characters that's more popular in Japan than the U.S.
Japan, maybe. Yeah. Well, yeah, probably, because I know that. Well, I mean, keep in mind that I don't. All the reviewers together don't make up more than 100. Like, or at least, and the popular ones don't make more than at least like 10. I don't know about 100 for all of them, but 10.
I did kind of find something on that just now. Like, on TV tropes, your mileage may vary section, which like the more subjective tropes. They have one right on the very top here, because it starts with A. Is one listed: Americans hate Tingle, which is where a foreign audience hates a character that the original audience enjoyed.
Oh yeah, Tingle from Legend of Zelda.
Yeah. In this case, the two characters mentioned are Toshiro and Hinamori.
They like Hinamori?
Well, she probably falls in like the whole Yamato Nadeshiko thing they got going. But
bullshit.
Specifically in the case of Hitsugaya, though, like, due to being a spotlight-stealing character, is at times compared to Ichigo, especially right now because they've got the same face and physique, and is viewed as having ability of ass pulls, having his own movie, which cashes in onto his Japanese popularity, made him even more disliked in America. European attitudes tend to be more ambivalent than either the Japanese or American attitudes. And if you're curious for Hinamori, it's just like Hinamori due to being brainwashed by Aizen and staying loyal for a while. Ironically, Hinamori doesn't seem to have many fans on the staff of the anime itself. She appears in none of the movies, and only one of the filler arcs, not counting her evil clones in the Gotei 13 invading army arc, and even that involved her Zanpakuto talking down to her for being naive.
So apparently the people in the anime don't like her. I mean, who work on the anime don't like her, at least as much. But apparently the manga, the people, the audience like her because the brainwashing thing.
Well, no,
Oh,
no. Well, the brainwashing thing is why she's disliked here, I think.
yeah. Well, why do they like her over there?
I
Because
know.
you
I
said
think
Yamato Nadeshiko thing.
that's the whole thing of a woman that
Yeah, I
holds
know
up
it
to all
is.
the Japanese values of what a woman should be. Yeah, I
Ah.
know. I'm there with you.
Look,
I mean,
look again. It's your choice if you want to be one, but you shouldn't have to.
yeah. Incidentally, there's another one here. Germans love David Hasselhoff, where a character that's not as well liked in Japan is much more beloved outside of the country. Kenpachi is probably the first one listed there. Like, never makes it past ninth in popularity polls in Japan, but he's a big hit in America. They also have Baragon is much more popular in the West and Japan, his popularity exceeding Aizen's in some places.
What the frick is wrong with Japan?
No, no, no. Baragon is not popular in Japan, but is more
Oh,
popular
okay.
overseas.
What the frick is wrong with us?
Well, I don't know if it's us specifically, but yeah. Then Sun Sui has a considerably larger fan base with the American audience. I can see that. And then Mexicans love Chad, because he's half Mexican.
But anyway, so what else did I want? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
you had your own comments going there. I've kind of had my piece on there. Go for it.
I mean, I just thought that was the first thing I said was like the maturation. I just thought it was really funny how he was all about becoming more powerful, like gaining the years and experience to become more powerful. And I was like, okay, the age thing is sort of like supposed to be. I mean, I just felt that it doesn't. It feels kind of cheap that he grows up in like 20 seconds, you know. Even if it's just physically, I mean, it's physical and ability. Like it's supposed to represent the ability. I feel it's very. I feel like this is a thing that shouldn't happen until the epilogue. You know, when you say, oh, so that's what Hitsugaya looks like when. I feel like not every character in any series should always reach their full potential during the duration. During the series itself, like I feel like there are some characters where you're like, well, this guy will become powerful eventually, but not now. And then maybe there's an epilogue where you show him being powerful. Like Gurren Lagann did that with the two little kids. You know,
Like when they become kind of Simone's successors.
Yeah, like that thing. Like I feel like that's what Hitsugaya should be. Like he has potential, and he could one day become even more. And they say he would one day become more powerful than Kiraku and everyone else. But him becoming at least, well, he says he's not as that. You know, he's not at this height, but he's obviously getting closer. It's just I feel like they kind of they jump the shark a bit just so that they can get a little more Hitsugaya love in there, and I'm not really a big fan of that. The second thing I wanted to point out, let's see if I can. Oh yeah, the shock faces. Yeah, I already said that.
We went over that one.
Yeah, we went over that. Let's see, third.
There's one you said about how like the transformation kind of like reflects the issues with these writing.
Oh, yeah, something about. Let me see if I can get that.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of diverges from the naturation thing.
Yeah.
Let me look back. I'll get it really quickly.
Sure.
Okay, here we go. Okay, I said that the physical changes of Hitsugaya can actually portray the fundamental problems of his development because it doesn't feel natural, and basically that how radical the change is. The point of maturation and development in terms of, it's even just forget about the physical appearance. Just think of the development of just his ability. The fact that just because it's the war, he has to get more powerful, and therefore he does in such a ridiculously short amount of time compared to the lifespan of a Shinigami. It feels even for that unnatural, and so that's apparent, and that's like there's a pacing issue with Bleach in of itself, right?
Yeah.
Like everything.
Like I said, recurring time waster at the very beginning.
Yeah. So I just think it was just really funny how the pacing of Kitsugaya's physical appearance kind of like fit well with the pacing of people's development. Like it's just skipping all this shit. So like Rikyu getting a Bankai, Renji getting a super Bankai apparently because he didn't tell his name. Everyone's getting ridiculously more. Ichigo, Kenpachi, like everyone's just like they could run a mile in like 7 minutes at first. Now they're running 5 miles under 2 seconds. It's just it's so it is at a certain point kind of ridiculous. So it's really funny how I get that it's magic and all, but like how Hitsugaya's just appearance of itself kind of represents that. and he tries to. He's doing it so that he can. My bet is to pander to the fangirls and fanboys if you're that type of if you're into guys.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna judge, but it's just really funny that that's kind of like how he did it. You know, it's kind of fascinating that it's like a metaphor for a really huge flaw in his writing.
Yeah. It does kind of like highlight a few of the issues with that, though. You're right. Like I said, I still think you're kind of overthinking the whole maturation thing, just because like, my only point there is like in the specific case of Hichigaya's BC form, it's just a visual thing that's always powered up for the moment, and then he's going to go back to normal. So,
but that's not supposed to be. See, his development is not supposed to be a power up. It's supposed to be like something you're supposed. It's like a core development. You know, like as he's supposed to become stronger as like a default, not as a power up. You know, aging is not supposed to be a power up. It's supposed to be something that you yourself change over a long period of time. And that this the reason why I brought this up was because literally every Bleach reviewer was talking about it. Like Teching 101 was talking about it. I know King of Lightning or whatever, he complained about it. But yeah, no, this is actually a talked about thing here. That's why I brought it up.
I don't know. I just don't see this one as a big deal in this case. I really do not.
I just think I don't know. I just disagree with with how I guess part of it is the humor, like because he kept making all these jokes about
BC guy
being short, but the shortness, and now he's not. But
yeah, they should have made him Edward Elric of Bleach. That would have been funny. Make him still be short.
I mean, how can you tell if he's old otherwise though? Because it's not like the face changes that much, right?
Which we also discussed.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that's the thing though. To me, I just feel like maybe I am overthinking it, but even if I am, it's just really funny when you put it all together. It's just really funny for me. Like I'm not actually angry about it. I just find it really funny. And anyway, so yeah, I think that's about it for this one. No, I'm good.
Okay, so that's been our review this time of Bleach, chapter 671, The Perfect Crimson 2, which I'm finding a bit of an odd title given the fact that red is not a color that is associated with Hichigaya in any way, shape, or form. Go ahead and take us away.
Oh, one last thing.
Oh, go for it.
It has been roughly 187 chapters since Ichigo won an on-screen fight. Just want to put it out there.
Yeah. Well, I said, my thing is more about the fact that not so much winning a fight, that he's done anything even remotely effective or that didn't actively make things worse.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. All right, but anyway, go ahead and take us away.
Bye!